Hey everybody, what's going on? Another What's on Dave's Shelf here. And I'm David, in case you didn't know. And in this video, we're going to take a look at all of the Dungeons & Dragons Essentials, which is sort of like D&D 4th edition .5. I kind of consider it 4.5. But D&D Essentials started coming out around 2011, 2012. There were a lot of changes between core 4th edition and D&D Essentials, which I thought was a really good change. But unfortunately, I think it was a little bit too late. Even though I think D&D Essentials it's a really easy game to play. All of the classes, the Paragon Pass, the Epic Destinies, all of those were streamlined to where a lot of the conditions were knocked out of the classes, the powers, etc. Well, mostly out of the powers. Monsters were reorganized to where it just wasn't a solid block of actions. They actually started categorizing them into major actions, minor actions, and reactions, which it just made running monsters in 4th edition a lot easier. And I'll even kind of comment, I don't think Monster Manual 1 and 2 monsters were that bad in the first place. I actually think that they were pretty easy to run. But anyway, there are a bunch of changes between D&D 4th edition and D&D Essentials. So we're going to take a look at all this stuff, and I'm going to just kind of talk about D&D Essentials as I go along. So there's some box sets here, 3 box sets. So I'm going to kind of move some of this stuff out of the way like I always do. And I'll start with the Essentials, the core books for the Essentials. And like I said, Essentials is a really nice game. And, you know, it's based off of 4th edition. And these soft covers were kind of like a first for a rule book. But I mean, these were fairly cheap at $20, and these are usually, this is 350 to 400 pages, and it's in color. And the first book is the Rules Compendium. So what this did is it took Player's Handbook 1, the 30 pages of errata, all of that stuff, and basically worded everything to where it was much more manageable for a new player to play the game. And I really think D&D Essentials is a great game for a new player to play. So if you're playing D&D 5th edition, check out D&D Essentials, because it's really damn near easy to play as D&D 5th edition. There's a couple of minor changes with some more. There's quite a few more conditions, but I mean, pretty much the classes, there's so much variety that you can choose from, which actually blows away 5th edition in my opinion. Feats, all kinds of ability score improvements. Nothing is optional in Essentials. Everything is level based. So I mean, it's really good. I really think it is. And a lot of the conditions, like I said, were taken out of the powers and stuff. So this is the Rules Compendium. It is a total of 316 pages, and it does a great job with talking about the actual game itself. And it doesn't have any classes in here. That's the crazy thing about it. This 300 plus page book is nothing but rules. But like I said, these are all clarified much better than what the original Player's Handbook and the errata actually had done. So this talks about everything, has nice examples, beautiful art. The art in 4th edition is actually really beautiful. And it just goes into everything. I mean, it really does. All the flying mechanics, damage, all of the attacks of opportunity, which they're just a little bit more different than 5th edition. And then there's, about magic items, implements, everything else. But the magic items and stuff are actually in this book. But this book explains, the different types of magic items. So that's the Rules Compendium. It's a must if you're playing 4th edition. I mean, because everything is just explained so much better. So there are 2 class books in D&D Essentials. There's the Heroes of the Fallen Lands, and this has everything you need for clerics, fighters, rogues, and wizards. And then there is the Heroes of the Forgotten Kingdoms, which has everything you need to play druids, paladins, rangers, and warlocks. So this has everything, and these are the 375 page books. That's just nothing but about the classes, the Paragon Paths, the Epic Destinies, which Paragon Paths are level 11 to 20. Epic Destinies are 21 to 30 because it's a level 30 game. And then there's tons of magic items and stuff in here as well in the back of the book. So this has everything you need to play all of the classes. And these are basically like the melee classes without spells. So. And then it also has some of the rules, but not much, which there was a little bit of regurgitation in the 2 class books with the rules, but just maybe 20, 30 pages worth. And then there's a beautiful character creation, talks about all of the different classes, the roles that you're going to play, and then it goes into the actual classes themselves, gaining levels, gaining powers every time you go up a level, etc. So yeah, it has the races in here, and in fact, in this book, there are, which races are in here? The dwarf, the eladrin, the elf, the halfling, and the human. So those are the 5 races in this book, along with the cleric, the fighter, the rogue, and the wizard. And this has everything. Here's creating the cleric, where you can basically be a war priest. And it has everything you need to know, what you get for every single level, has all of the powers, and like I said, the powers are much more streamlined, and each class is set up just like this. And here's, stuff for the fighter, which is a slayer, which is sort of like a two-hander. There's everything for the rogue, or the rouge, if you want to call it a rouge, I don't care. There's the thief. And in the other books, there's some other core books that actually add more archetypes and paragons and powers and stuff too. And all of the other items that are added in the Splat books are streamlined for D&D Essentials. So, and then here's everything with the the races and stuff. And I mean, races, you get a lot of cool things with the race. You even get powers and stuff. So yeah, the books are beautiful, and they're, like I said, they were like $20 a piece when they came out, and I think they're a little bit more expensive now because I think there weren't that many printed. So here's the Heroes of the Forgotten Kingdoms. This has the druids, the paladins, the rangers, and the warlocks. And then for the races, you get the dragonborn, the drow, the half-elf, the half-orc, the human, and the tiefling. And this book is set up exactly the way the other Heroes of the Fallen Lands is. So, and then here's everything about powers, and then here it has everything about the different classes. So here's the druid, and then there's a couple of different druids you can be. There's a couple of different warlocks you can be, a couple of different paladins you can be, and then you can go with a couple of different warlocks also. And it has everything. It's set up beautifully. So at level, the heroic cavalier, at level 5 you get a daily power, level 6 you get a daily power, and then you get another feat. You get improved righteous shield at level 7. You get at level 8 an ability score increase, and then you get spirit of the virtuous charger. So it tells you exactly what you get, and all the, And another great thing about 4th edition, what I liked was there was no gray area in the powers. I mean, the powers, it tells you everything. It's an immediate interrupt. It's a burst of 3, so it's basically 3 squares around you in any direction. It tells you that what the trigger is, what the target is. Everything is just perfect. For the attacks, it tells you, plus, for your damage, it's 6 plus, charisma modifier. And then it has, for your effect, it tells you to, the target will take radiant damage 3 plus your charisma, and then at the different levels, as it upgrades, it does more damage. So, it's beautiful. It tells you what defense to attack. So Valiant Strike is your attack is your strength D20 plus your strength bonus versus AC. I mean, it can't get any more clear than that. So, yeah. So this is the second book, and this has all of the Warlock, Paladin, stuff like that. And then in the back of this, it has a bunch of magic items as well, adventuring gear, etc. It's really nice. So here's the Monster Vault. I'm not going to open this up, but the Monster Vault has all of the monsters that were basically reworked from Monster Manual 1 and Monster Manual 2. And the Monster Vault is the threats to the Nintervale. So this isn't like the box set, where the Monster Vault box set that I'm going to show you guys is. This is actually, the Nintervale is a default campaign setting for D&D Essentials. And what this has is it has I believe there's like a 128 page book that's just full of nothing but NPCs, gangs, different organizations, the NPCs. I mean, this is beautiful. It has an adventure as well, and it has a bunch of sheets of pogs, as you can see, of these, of the different types of pog. And, this is the beautiful thing about 4th edition. I mean, it was so well put together. But I never opened this up, and this is $35, and I believe this is a pretty rare thing to have, but it has you can see that they went all out on 4th edition. Double-sided flip mats. You got your pawns. You got a book. I believe you get an adventure in here as well. Maybe not. But you get the monsters and villains of the Nintervale, which is, like I said, the default setting for. You obviously get an adventure because you get double-sided maps. So I think you might get part 2 of the adventure, but I'm not too. Let's see, vaults. Nope. Just double-sided maps. So it doesn't have an adventure, but it just gives you double-sided mats. Flip mats, which are beautiful. So, yeah, the Monster Vault adds 128 pages of new monsters to, D&D Essentials, which is absolutely beautiful. So next, here's the red box set. And no, my friends, this is not the original red box. This is the 4th edition starter set. And this came out around D&D Essentials. Here's a couple of extra character sheets that I put in there. But it comes with a player's book. Very, very basic stuff. It's a 30-page player's book. It's got art. It's not black and white. It's actually really nicely put together. There's a solo adventure in here that you can play to kind of get used to the game, which is like a choose-your-own adventure, which I actually really like that. I love choose-your-own adventures. Here's, I believe this is about 100 pages. No, this is 70 pages, and this is in your Dungeon Master's book, and it has everything that you need to, all of the different encounters for the adventure in here, which the adventure is actually really good. It's called the Twisting Halls, and I've actually ran this for D&D 4th edition for Essentials. I've ran this twice for different groups of players, and then I also converted this to 5th edition, and we played it in 5th edition as well. And you can see, you get a beautiful map and everything, and they went all out on these box sets back then. So here's all of your, here's how, this is just a DM's dream. This is everything for Encounter 7. The Wizard's Laboratory has everything, all the features, the monsters, and all of the new types of stat blocks. It has standard actions, your traits, instead of just being thrown up there just in a mess. Yeah, it's beautiful. And then it has information on the Nintervale, which is a beautiful little setting, y'all. And then there's some Harkenwald adventures for Part 1 and Part 2 that are in the Dungeon Masters box set, I think. And then it has a bunch of different creatures, all fully statted. And the stat blocks are super easy to read once they were kind of redone in 2010 or 11, whenever they decided to do it. Nice, beautiful double-sided map. You can use this for any game too. It doesn't have to be just, this adventure, the Twisting Halls. And then they give you cards for the different magic items and your and your powers and stuff. So yeah, that was pretty nice. And then there's a sheet of pawns. So, and then they're double sided, which are really nice. And then you get action point tokens, and the different size tokens from medium to large. You can get a gelatinous cube and your big zombie and your hulking zombie that are actually pretty badass. And then there's a little flyer for more of the D&D essentials content that you can get. So yeah, that's the red box set for D&D 4th edition, and that's a pretty nice little box set. It was rather inexpensive. I think I let one out. It was what, $20 or so? Yeah, $20. There's everything that you get with it too. Great, nice stuff. Then we'll go into this is a must-have right here. Oh my goodness! If you're playing 4th edition, these next two box sets, the Monster Vault and the Dungeon Masters kit, these are two of my favorite box sets of any game of all time. I mean, just because of the content that's in them and the quality. I mean, the quality of these are just amazing. And this $30. It has a higher level adventure. That's right, the Cairn Winter King. I remember that. It's a 32-page adventure. It's got a 320-page book of monsters, all redone for the new monster stat blocks. It's got a double-sided map, and then it's got 10 sheets of cutout of the pawns. So let's take a look at this beast of a box set. This is a beautiful box set. I love this box set. I don't know why, but the first time I opened it up, I took the wrapper off and I opened it up. I was like, holy cow. It has all of the different monsters on pawns. And as you can see, yeah, my black dragon's falling out. But yeah, I mean, it has every single monster in pawns. I mean, these are beautiful, man. The art in these games in 4th edition, I really like the art. And, I like the game as well. And especially with Essentials, it made the game more streamlined, and it just made it quicker to play. That was the main complaint that I have, was sometimes combat would get a little dragged out because of all of the different, effects on the powers and stuff like that. So now I'm knocking all of them out. So yeah, kids, don't do this at home. So, and then they give you rings for other creatures that you could put in a medium into a large, and then a large into a gigantic. So, yeah, 10 sheets of monsters. And the cool thing about these is that, see how they're gray on this side? There's there's an effect called bloodied, which bloodied in D&D 4th edition and Essentials means that the creature's at half life. So, whenever you're using these pawns and the creature's bloodied or 50% life, you just flip the token over. And that was a good indicator for your players that, hey, the monster's halfway dead. So then there was a lot of powers that activated for your character once the monster was halfway dead, at least. So. And then they could activate powers too. So here's another double-sided map for the adventure. Cairn of the Winter King, which I have not ran this actually. But it's a beautiful 32-page adventure. Everything is mapped out for you. I mean, it's a pretty big dungeon adventure. And then here's the magic right here. This is the Monster Vault book. Oh my gosh, these are amazing books. I love this. So, all of the monsters have beautiful art. It shows you the token. It has all of the the effects on the monsters. It has any kind of auras. See how everything is broken up into sections now? So standard actions, triggered actions. I mean, it gets an attack versus one creature, and the melee, and the range is melee 1, so basically adjacent. And then it's plus 18 versus armor class. So, I mean, and then, for each one of these monsters, there's multiple variants. So there's just not, like in other editions, there's just not one basilisk. Here's a level 10 mesmeric eye basilisk. Here's a level 10 Venomeye Basilisk, which is actually an artillery, which has like range attacks. Here's a level 11 Wiltai Basilisk, a level 12 Basilisk, a level 13 Basilisk. So you can see there's all kinds of variety in the creatures. Here's your beholders, the Beholder Goth, the regular Beholder, your Beholder Eye Tyrant, your Boulets. I mean, it just has everything, and I love it. I mean, just the way that these monsters are set up. So here, let's see. Let's find the goblins. They're after the Githyanki, which I do love. Githyanki, by the way. So here's the goblins. There's your goblin sniper, your goblin rider, which actually has a mountain mechanics for all of that. Here's your goblin cutthroat, your goblin hex hurler. There's a hobgoblin beastmaster, because this is all part of the goblinoid family. In 4th edition, they consider it the goblinoid family. So yeah, so there's your hobgoblin battle guard, your hobgoblin spear goblin, spear soldier, and I mean, there's just so much variety, and there's just hundreds and hundreds of monsters that have been redone in this. And so I love the Monster Vault. I love what it's about. I love that you get a 32-page adventure with a flip mat. You get 10 beautiful sheets of pogs, where you got enough pogs for every single monster that's in the box set. I mean, it's just awesome. And I think these Monster Vault box sets are actually pretty rare now. Here's probably one of my favorite box sets of all time. I also love the Numenera box set. That thing was just 25 pounds of awesomeness. I love the new Savage Worlds box set. I love the original basic D&D box sets. And I love this Dungeon Master's kit as well. This is a must-have if you're playing 4th edition as well. To me, it's a must-have, and I love this. And you know, this has here's the flyer. It comes with a Dungeon Master screen, a beautiful Dungeon Master screen with it's a 4-panel screen of the Underdark with the Drow, etc. Umber Hulk, look at that, Black Dragon, some Mind Flayers there, some Orcs. I mean, look at that art. It's just amazing. And look at this Dungeon Master's screen, everybody. It's just chock packed full of information. There's not 4 pages of conditions and art with no information at all. Yeah, this is a nice DM screen. Got a fire. Oh, look at that. Oh, I forgot about the Fire Giant and the Roper. Look at those. Look at a Roper, dude. That Roper's awesome. Damn it. I want to play some 4th edition next year. So it has a beautiful 4-panel screen. It has it has 2 adventures. I mean, this is like an unbelievable box set. So here's part 1, Reavers of the Harkenwald, which I have not ran, but I've read this word for word, both adventures, part 1 and part 2. They're 32 pages apiece, and they are, seriously, this is an awesome adventure. And this would be awesome for D&D 5th edition as well. And it's so easy to convert to 5th edition. So, you know, it has everything set up, all of the lore of Harkenwald. I mean, beautiful maps of the towns that you're in, all of your encounters set up. I mean, it's just beautiful. It also has, here's part 2. And it's also this is also 32 pages. All of the encounters are all set up for you. All of the beautiful Michael Schley art, stuff like that. I mean, it's just awesome. Then it has a packet. I haven't opened this up yet, but it's got a couple flip mats, as you can see, a couple fold-out flip mats, 1-inch grid, and then it also has more pawns. So there's what, six or so sheets of pawns here, with all of the NPCs and the villains that you're going to be fighting and the monsters. So that's beautiful. And then here's this is some great material right here. This is the core, well, this is part of the core book, but this is the Dungeon Master's book. And this is 270 pages. And this has everything on running a game. Everything about your different types of players, everything from all the different deities that are in D&D. It has, in D&D 4th edition, here's the Nenter Vale, which has massively detailed information on the entire. It's like a 300 by 300 mile map, and it's just chock full of lore. And there's so much lore in the other hardbacks as well, and the 9-part Orcus adventure as well. And then it has fully fleshed out Fall Crest. I mean, it tells you how to relay, and this is a good book as well, like the Dragon Age book. The Dragon Age core book that I've already showed you guys on What's on Dave's Shelf, and I mentioned that's another great book that actually shows you how to DM and tells you how to DM. So here's all your different, how to distribute loot. Here's how to deal with all of the rules and stuff. There's a bunch of optional stuff in here. And then it goes into building adventures. And I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And then it goes into, not only does it go into everything about DMs, but it has pages and pages of traps and hazards and ways to make them. And here's the most important thing. This is probably my favorite part of D&D 4th edition, and it was the skill challenges. And a lot of people were scared of skill challenges, but I actually really embraced them and I loved them. And skill challenges were not explained very well in the core rulebook, which was Player Handbook 1. But then they tried to do it in Dungeon Master Guide 2. I believe it was Dungeon Master Guide 1 and 2 also had information on skill challenges. But it still left a lot of people lost. But Mike Merles did, I believe it was a 5 to 10 article series in Dragon Magazine for 4th edition, your skill challenges. So what he did is he took those and then he put it in here, and skill challenges were much more easier to run once Mike explained how they were to be ran, and that was a great thing. And then of course there's more magic items and stuff like that. So yeah, great book right here. I mean, this is I wouldn't even use the rules, honestly. I wouldn't even use the rules in the Player's Handbook or the errata from the Player's Handbook or Dungeon Master's Guide. If you're going to play 4th edition, seriously, get you the Rules Encyclopedia book, the Rules Compendium book, as I throw it around and damage it. Get you this book. This has everything for 4th edition, and get you the Dungeon Master's box kit. Unbelievable products. I mean, they're beautiful. And I'm not sure what the prices are now, but I don't think these were very heavily printed, because as soon as these came out, they basically pulled the plug on D&D Essentials, and then they started putting out D&D Next content, which eventually evolved to D&D 5th edition. So last but not least, for the Essential series, I want to show you guys some of the core books that also were great for Essentials, as I knock everything around. So I'm just absolutely horrible with knocking my camera and my mic around. So Monster Manual 3, this was this came out right around when the monster. Well, this actually reorganized the monsters, and it had a bunch of higher level monsters in here, and the Monster Manual is just set up beautifully. And as you can see, for Frost Giants, there's a bunch of different Frost Giants. There's just not one Frost Giant. There's the Frost Giant Berserker, the Frost Giant Shield Bearer, the Frost Giant Chieftain. There's 3 different types of Hill Giants. So that's what this does. It just doesn't give you one. And then it gives you lore about all of the different types of creatures, and then it gives you, all the different lore level checks, which is great. And then it tells you how to, set up the encounters, and then it has their tactics as well. So yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful book, and this is actually, this is part of, even though it doesn't say, Essentials, this is actually the same thing as the monsters from the Monster Vaults. Now here's Mordenkainen's Magnificent Emporium. This is actually, Heroes of the Fallen Land, the Rules Compendium. So this is for Essentials. And this is basically an entire book of magic items, inks. I mean, just says everything. I mean, there's just a whole. There's what 10,000 magic items in D&D Fourth Edition, and there's 6 tiers for most every magic item. But this has wondrous items. It has set items in it to where you can have like 6-piece sets of gear for your characters. All kinds of new armor, new shields, new weapons. This has tons and tons of new items, like 160 pages worth. Then there is also the Neverwinter campaign setting, which I really like this book. The Neverwinter campaign setting is also for the Essentials stuff. And this has a beautiful fold-out map of the city of Neverwinter. And it has everything you need to know about adventures, all of the different areas. Then it also has all of the different Harpers and all of the new 5th edition organizations and stuff. So, and then there's a ton of new monsters. Check out the different Nothics that there are. There's 3 different Nothics there. And there's also a new class that you can actually play, which is the Blade Singer for the Wizard, which is a beautiful class. It's streamlined, just like it is for all of the Heroes of the Fallen Lands. So there's all your powers, and just look at all these powers that you can choose from. It's just so much variety, and it goes, like I said, it goes up to level 30 also. So this is also for Essentials, and then there were 3 more books for player options, and it's the player options series. And there's the Heroes of Shadow, which are basically a bunch of backstabbing rogues and other types of classes like that. There's the Heroes of the Feywild, which is like barbarian, bard stuff, and then here's Heroes of the Elemental Chaos, which is more wizardry and stuff like that. So these were streamlined. These are also for use with the Rules Compendium, D&D Essentials. And these just expand more. As you can see, just a whole book of more options for the Assassin, the Paladin, the new Vampire class, and the Warlock. And then there's additional options for the Cleric, for the Warlock, and for the Wizard. There's new Paragon Pass, new Epic Destinies, and I mean it's good stuff. There's stuff new. There's a new Shade race, the Verlaka. There's more options for dwarves, Eladrins, elves, halflings, and humans. And like I said, it's just jam-packed full of more options for the classes that I mentioned. So here's the Heroes of the Elemental Chaos. So if you don't like what's in this book, Heroes of the Forgotten Kingdoms, Heroes of the Shadows is going to be a ton more options for you. 130, 150 pages? Yeah, 160 pages. So here is the next book, the Heroes of the Elemental Chaos, set up just like the other book. 160 pages basically. Look at that, all kinds of new weapons, all kinds of new creatures. There's some adventures. There's some encounters that are already set up. Here's Epic Destinies for level 21 to 30. There's Paragon Pass, as you can see. There's the God Warder. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. I mean, this is just beautiful. Demon Bound Paragon Path. And look at that, all kinds of new summons and stuff that you can have. So this adds a couple of new races as well. It adds, let's see, what races does it add? I think it adds the Genasi. Let's see. Yeah, I think it adds the Genasi. And then there's options for the Dragonborn, the Drow, the Dwarves, and yes, there's some other races as well. And then this has options for the Druid, the new Monk, the Sorcerer, the Warlock, and the Wizard. So this is the Heroes of the Elemental Chaos. And then lastly, here is the Heroes of the Feywild. Set up the same way. New items, Epic Destinies, Paragon Pass. adventures, new feats. I mean, this just has everything, all kinds of new stuff for your players. I mean, this is just awesome. And these are all streamlined, like I said. So here's the new barbarian. Well, not new, but there's the barbarian for essentials, because the barbarian wasn't in the Heroes of the Forgotten Kingdoms or Heroes of the Fallen Lands. So there's new faces, new races of the Fae. There's the Dryad, the Pixie, the Satyr. There's also the barbarian choices, the bard choices. There's a Skald for the bard. There's the druid stuff, the wizard stuff. And like I said, all kinds of new themes, character options, paragons, epic destinies, all that stuff. So yeah, there you go, everybody. That's a ton of material for D&D 4th edition essentials. I don't even think it's even meant to be called 4th edition essentials, but I mean, it did come out in the lifespan of D&D 4th edition. So there you go, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, please do me a favor and thumbs up the video, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also, like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also, I want to hear what you guys have to say about Dungeons and Dragons Essentials down in the comments section. I love to answer the comments, so everybody feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions about Essentials. If you have any experience with Essentials, do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you not like it because you've never read about the game or played the game, but you just listen to everybody else about 4th edition? Or actually, do you not like it because you haven't played it? So, shots fired there, but I want to see it in the. I want to see your comments down there below. So, thanks again for watching, everybody. Until next video, happy gaming. Stay safe. Bye, everybody.